The Chargers can't treat 2026 like another year of figuring things out. Alt and Rashawn Slater are back. Mike McDaniel has an offense that needs to explode. And in a brutal AFC, any hesitation to give Justin Herbert more help will get punished. Today we're going after 4 issues that directly shape this team's ceiling. Rebuilding the protection, a market opportunity the front office needs to chase, defensive depth nobody should overlook, and the player this league continues to underrate. Subscribe now and demand more. The talent is already in place. Now it's time to destroy the doubts once the ball is kicked off. Ranking Alt as just the 9th best tackle in the NFL sounds respectful until you look at the context. Then it starts to feel too cautious for a player who was already playing like one of the league's best before his body gave out in 2025. Alt suffered 2 high ankle sprains, had surgery in November, and watched his season end early. He played only 6 games. He still made the Pro Bowl. That does not happen because people feel sorry for you, and it does not happen because of where you were drafted. It happens because his impact was impossible to ignore whenever he stepped onto the field. ESPN surveyed more than 70 executives, coaches, and scouts to create its 2026 rankings. Alt landed at number 9, but the most exciting part is not the number. It is what the evaluators who ranked him said. Jeremy Fowler wrote that Alt did not receive many votes, but experienced evaluators believe his rise to stardom is coming. One NFC executive predicted that he would become the next Lane Johnson at right tackle, pointing to his rare mix of size, strength, and agility. An AFC executive was even more direct. Alt is going to be a problem for a long time because he has everything you want. That's where I push back on anyone trying to downplay this return. Alt is 23 years old. He was the 5th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. He has already proven he can deal with elite pass rushers, and he is still not even close to his technical prime. The question is not whether the talent is there. The challenge is keeping this monster healthy, letting him stack weeks, sharpen the details, and turn flashes of dominance into a season of control on the right side. And Alt is not the only player Los Angeles is getting back. Rashawn Slater is also returning after rupturing the patellar tendon in his left knee during 2025 training camp. The plan for that season was simple and nasty. Slater protecting the left side, Alt crushing people on the right. Injuries wrecked that structure before it ever had a real chance to breathe. Now both players are healthy and trying to reclaim what should have been one of the greatest advantages on this roster. Slater missed ESPN's top 10 and landed in the honorable mentions. One NFC executive said he is absolutely a top 10 tackle and believes he will be back on that list next year. So these 2 players are hearing the same challenge from different angles. Go prove it again. Good. Take that pressure and turn it into fuel. Mike McDaniel can design motion, speed, play action, and quick answers, but no system comes alive when Justin Herbert has to speed up his internal clock because he fears the protection is about to collapse. With Alt and Slater together, the Chargers get back the edges of their offensive identity. That can restore security in the passing game, physical power in the running game, and real freedom for the quarterback. Celebrating minicamp pictures is not enough. These 2 need to be available when December turns up the pressure and January separates contenders from actual threats. If this duo stays on the field, 9th place and an honorable mention will look like timid evaluations before the season is even finished. A healthy offensive line gives Justin Herbert time. The next move is making sure that time doesn't end with the field squeezed down and opposing defenses smothering everything near the line of scrimmage. That is why Kayshon Boutte's name deserves to land on Joe Ortiz's desk immediately. If there is a real opening, the Chargers have to call New England. Not because the current receiver room is empty. Ladd McConkey has already earned Herbert's trust. Quentin Johnston brings size on the outside, and Trey Harris brings upside. But depending on perfect health and all 3 players developing at the same time is asking a championship season to walk across thin ice. One injury, one drop in consistency, or one player developing slower than expected changes the entire shape of the offense. Los Angeles needs another threat who can force the secondary to back up. Boutte has already shown that exact ability. He can line up outside, attack vertically, track the football downfield, and turn limited chances into explosive gains. In a Mike McDaniel system built to create space, that speed wouldn't only boost Boutte's own production. It could pull safeties deeper, reduce some of the attention on McConkey, and create room for David Njoku, Oronde Gadsden, Johnston, and the rest of Herbert's weapons. The Patriots' moves are what make this situation so interesting. New England added I.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs, creating a much more crowded receiver room. Boutte has publicly indicated that he wants to stay, and the Patriots still value what he brings. But he is entering the final year of his rookie contract, younger players are battling for snaps, and his name has already come up in trade discussions this offseason. That doesn't put him on a flight to Los Angeles. It does mean there is a door worth pushing on. We are not talking about giving up premium assets for a superstar tied to an enormous contract. The idea would be to explore something reasonable, a mid to late round pick, Maybe a conditional selection connected to playing time, if New England is willing to discuss those terms. The Chargers would be adding affordable competition and proven NFL upside without burning resources needed for bigger roster decisions. I want smart aggression, not a collection of names. Boutte would not arrive to save the receiver room by himself. He would arrive to make a cornerback and safety respect the deep ball, while McConkey creates separation inside and the tight ends attack the middle. Herbert has the arm to punish any coverage that hesitates. Refusing to give him another vertical option because the roster looks good enough in July would be an arrogant gamble. The front office needs to find out the price now, before the need becomes obvious to everybody and far more expensive. Deane Leonard has never been handed an easy path, and that may be exactly why he is still here. He left Calgary as an unranked recruit, helped his hometown university win the Vanier Cup in 2019, spent time as a reserve at Ole Miss, and earned a starting job in his final season, finishing with 50 tackles and 1 tackle for loss. Nothing about that journey screamed superstar. Every part of it screamed survival and work. Before the 2022 NFL Draft, Lance Zierlein saw size, press strength, and recovery speed. But he also noted missed chances to make plays in coverage. The Chargers bought into the developmental possibility with the 236th pick in the 7th round. Leonard answered by creating value in the place where late-round players have to prove they belong: special teams. In 2025, he appeared in 8 games, missed time because of injury, played 82% of the special team snaps when he was available, and recorded 5 tackles. Los Angeles brought him back for 2026 on a 1-year, $2 million contract with $1.4025 million guaranteed. That does not make him a free agent guaranteed. That does not make him untouchable. It simply tells you the coaching staff still sees tangible value in what he provides. This is where the pressure hits. Leonard enters the season projected as the 4th cornerback. Under normal circumstances, his defensive snaps will be limited, but one injury ahead of him could suddenly push Leonard into a much larger role. Real depth is not somebody who merely occupies space on the sideline. It is a backup who can step onto the field without forcing the entire defense to hide his presence. His 7.67 relative athletic score helps explain the Chargers' patience. But at 26 for most of the season, Leonard cannot be treated like a developmental project forever. Special teams support his roster case. His improvement at cornerback will define his actual ceiling inside this group. Leonard needs to capitalize on more opportunities to attack the football and prove that 4 seasons of development have created a dependable defender. The question for this community is direct. If the 53-man roster were finalized today, would Deane Leonard make it? Give me a yes or no in the comments. My read is that he begins with the advantage because of his special teams value, but that advantage cannot become complacency. On a team determined to challenge the AFC, even the 4th cornerback has to be ready for the cruelest Sunday of the year. Stop treating Ladd McConkey like he is a nice complimentary piece. That evaluation is already outdated. The Chargers are preparing to reshape their offense under Mike McDaniel, and no receiver on this roster fits the logic of that system better than Ladd McConkey. Once the football starts moving through space, motion, and yards after catch opportunities, plenty of people who left McConkey out of the major conversations will rush to correct their evaluations. His 2025 numbers were lower: 66 receptions, 789 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That happened in a Greg Roman offense that once again ran out of answers when defenses adjusted. It also happened after Keenan Allen returned as a receiver better suited to the primary target role in that design. Turning McConkey's statistical decline into evidence of individual limitations would be lazy analysis. The context changed his usage. The talent did not go anywhere. His rookie season remains the strongest evidence. McConkey caught 82 passes for 1,149 yards in his first NFL season. He did not need the body of a dominant outside receiver to tear apart coverage. At 6 feet and roughly 185 pounds, he wins primarily from the slot, understands space, gives Justin Herbert a dependable throwing window, and makes defenders miss after the catch. Those traits are not nice little details in McDaniel's offense. They are core ingredients. McDaniel creates answers through movement, angles, horizontal speed, and players who can turn a manageable completion into a violent game. McConkey can move across the formation, attack a defender's leverage, and catch the ball in better positions to accelerate. If the new staff increases his involvement, 1,149 yards should not be treated like some distant peak. It can become the starting point for measuring how far this partnership can go. The league is still sleeping on him. Bucky Brooks built his 2026 All-Breakout team for NFL.com. focused primarily on second-year players, and selected Emeka Egbuka at wide receiver. McConkey was not mentioned. In Jeremy Fowler's survey of executives, coaches, and scouts, McConkey landed in the receiving votes category but missed both the top 10 and the honorable mentions. Fine, save those lists. I do not want empty outrage over a July ranking. I want the Chargers to use that disrespect as ammunition and put McConkey in position to rip the argument away from every skeptic. The opening schedule provides an attractive runway, with matchups against the Arizona Cardinals and Las Vegas Raiders, two secondaries viewed as vulnerable. He can come flying out of the gate, much like Quentin Johnston did at the beginning of last season. The difference is that McConkey's projected role in this system looks sustainable, not like a temporary hot streak. Johnston can still grow as a vertical threat. Trey Harris can find consistency. Amari Hampton has the tools to become a force on the ground, while also contributing as a receiver. None of that diminishes McConkey. It does the opposite. The more dangerous the rest of this offense becomes, the more expensive it gets for a defense to chase Ladd all over the field. And when defenders try to close off the middle, Herbert has the arm to punish the space they abandon elsewhere. The expectations are enormous because the opportunity is just as enormous. McConkey has to stay healthy, deal with increased defensive attention, and turn volume into impact across the entire season. If he surpasses his rookie production and becomes the centerpiece of McDaniel's passing attack, next year's conversation will not be about whether he received a few votes. It will be about how long the NFL wasted before admitting the Chargers already had their star. This is how a season stops being a promise and becomes a threat. Alt and Slater holding down the protection, the front office refusing to stay passive in the market, backups prepared for an emergency, and McConkey placed at the center of the new offense. None of those pieces guarantees January by itself. Together, they erase the excuses. Mike McDaniel has the tools to change this offense's identity, and Joe Hortiz can still strengthen what's missing. Los Angeles has to move with hunger and play with competitive violence because Herbert cannot put this fan base through another emotional rebuild. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to follow every demand we make this season. The Chargers have ammunition. It's time to fire.